On today's show, Minnesota Bound is going to the fair to join the great get-together, starting with a place known as the North Woods, where lumberjacks play daily.
There's lots of goodies here at the Minnesota Bound Log Cabin.
Plus, our Minnesota Bound Log Cabin is open and ready for business. Schara gives us a tour.
One of the favorites year after year here at the Minnesota Bound Log Cabin is the loon tune.
The plight of honeybees is making the news these days, so let's get busy and see what the buzz is all about, where the bees thrive at the State Fair.
I'm getting ready to head to the State Fair today.
And our Minnesota Bound Classic this week remembers the perfect State Fair treat you make for yourself.
Oh, the maple syrup smells wonderful.
Those stories and more, next.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's Select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Raven and I welcome you to the show, and it's a special event for us because it's our Minnesota Bound State Fair show. We're going to take you to the North Woods, we're going to explore our Minnesota Bound cabin and find some other interesting things at the State Fair. And your hosts are going to be Bill Sherck and Schara. Bill and Laura, take it away.
Thanks, Ron. There is a ton of stuff to see this year at the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
That's right. I'm going to give you a tour of one of the crowd favorites, the Minnesota Bound Log Cabin. And Bill, I think you're going to show us around the North Woods?
Let's get to it.
Oh no, summer's first bow. The State Fair signals the beginning of the end, and Minnesotans could not be happier. Just look around. Up in the fair's North Woods, things are hopping. And this year, guests might notice a few changes.
Hello. Is that it for you today?
So one of the things you won't see or hear here in the North Woods this year, and it's kind of sad, is our old friend from Smokin' Joe's. Every time you walk by, you hear, "Get your beef jerky." Remember him? Well, apparently he's retired this year. That's the bad news. The good, Smokin' Joe is still here, and so are the meat sticks.
And the food news continues next door at Giggles.
It's wonderful. I just love it.
People lined up on opening morning to get at Giggles' new menu.
We always come up with something new. We're Giggles Campfire Grill at the Minnesota State Fair. So we have a new walleye mac and cheese, capativi. It's smoked Gouda, smoked walleye. And then to top it off, we put one of our world famous walleye fries on top of it. And then we came up with something a little more refreshing for everybody. It's a homemade raspberry lemonade. Well, Bill, why don't you take a little sip? Pretty tasty, isn't it? This is our s'more beer. Flat Earth, small local brewery, chocolate, and that is crushed graham crackers. And upon request, we'll throw a marshmallow in there. Don't have another beer at Giggles Campfire Grill, have a s'more beer.
Yep, Giggles Campfire Grill. Perfect North Woods fare. Get it?
Giggles even has the perfect North Woods car to match. Tell me this wouldn't be the ultimate man about the woods ride. A 1947 DeSoto Suburban with an old cedar strip canoe up top. And look at that. It even looks like Giggles stole one of Ron's favorite baits.
Oh, and just up the way,
Free samples of kettle corn. Free samples.
an old twist on a newer Northwoods booth. Henry Towner will spend the next 10 days over a scalding hot kettle, paddling up kettle corn.
Nailed it. New this year in the Northwoods is this place. It's called the Bonanza. They tell us it's the world's largest shooting gallery. That's the story anyway. It's a great chance to come and burn a little bit of cash and hit a few targets. Or in Ron's case and my case, it's a chance to warm up for the hunting season. I'm going for the coyote.
Drop in your dough and get to the shooting. Lots of fun, lots of targets. But just don't miss. Odds are someone will be watching.
Circle, real fast.
Also new in the Northwoods,
Wow, that was there. Here goes torque. Oh, we're the stunt dog show. We have dogs that dock dive in the water, and they do some of the most incredible tricks and stunts on the planet. We have dogs going to be jumping rope. They're going to be doing handstands in the palm of my hand, doing some incredible feats like walking on their front paws.
no joke. Look at the packed bleachers, and most folks stay for the other big Northwoods show. This year, a new team of lumberjacks and lumberjills square off on the main stage 4 times a day. Paul Bunyan-like fun at the fair. But here's the thing, it isn't meant to be all fun and games. Over at the Department of Natural Resources area, where we get to scope out all the big fish every year, one booth is meant to make an impression. At the very least, it should make people think.
This is our 21st year of found object sculptures. We commission an artist to come along on various river cleanups and see what they can find and what they can fashion out of it and make a sculpture. And the whole purpose is to inspire more people to clean up the river.
So get to the fair and make the Northwoods your destination. As always, it is ours, and there's no place we'd rather be. Well, except for maybe the fishing boat. But don't worry, the Northwoods has you covered there too.
So here we have a year-round multi-purpose feeder, and this you can fill with suet or also something right from your cupboard in your kitchen.
Up
Guess
next,
what?
Laura Schara takes us for a walk through the Minnesota-bound cabin.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Minnesota Select GMC dealers, Connecticut, and by Starkey Hearing Technologies.
Hi everybody, one of the most popular places here in the Northwoods is the Minnesota-bound log cabin. So come with me because I'm going to give you a tour of all the latest and greatest gadgets and gear here at the fair. Okay, there's lots of goodies here at the Minnesota-bound log cabin, and we're going to start right over here because when you leave the fair, your furry friends and feather friends want to make sure that you don't forget them. So here we have a year-round multi-purpose feeder, and this you can fill with suet or also something right from your cupboard in your kitchen. Guess what? You can put peanut butter in here and they'll be just as happy. All of us like to eat treats on a stick here at the State Fair, but you cannot forget about your canine friends. They want to eat some treats on a stick as well, so you can bring home some naturally made biscuits for your furry friend. It's always been a dream of yours to take home your own Raven puppy. Well, guess what? We have them for sale here right at the fair. They come complete with her own little Raven bandana, and also they're pre-housebroken. If you want to read to Raven at night, we have Minnesota Bound's Ron Schara's book here, as well as his fishing guide. If you're looking for some great fishing advice, I suggest picking up one of these. Everybody wants to dress like a celebrity. Well, guess what? So do your canine friends. We have Raven's bandanas here for sale in all sorts of sizes, from your smaller furry friends to your bigger canines. Of course, one of my personal passions is wild game cooking. And I'm gonna give you a tip here, folks. Spices are key to good meals. These are by the Golden Fig, which is a local store right in St. Paul, Minnesota, and these are batched weekly, so that means they're ultra fresh ingredients. So here are some of my favorites. We have the Wild River Herbs, which is great for trout, walleye, and fish. Here's the Sportsman's Rub, which I love for duck, goose, venison, you name it. And one of the tricks to having a great bird flavor and moisture is brining spices. You want to brine your birds before you cook them. That's a key tip to having moisture in your meat. As we know, when it's State Fair time, fall is just right around the corner. So guess what? It's fall fashion season. We have some fun t-shirts here at the fair. Neon's a hot color for kids this fall. You can get yourself a Minnesota-bound neon shirt. Also, camouflage is one of the hottest prints for fall season. Here's the Minnesota-bound camouflage t-shirt. And ladies, we have not forgotten about you. We have this beautiful lilac t-shirt with a Minnesota-bound loon right on it. We all know it can get a little hot and steamy here at the State Fair, so it's important that you stay fresh. Here we have some homemade soap bars. Now these are made with fresh cocoa butter, olive oil, and also natural oils and scents. They smell delicious. Now if you need to use this mid-fair, don't be afraid to do so. For those of you who are fishing fanatics like me, you can keep the fishing tradition alive right over the campfire. These are by Firebugs, and these are hot dog roasters or marshmallow toasters. So you can see if you can reel in yourself a hot dog over the campfire. One of the favorites year after year here at the Minnesota-bound Log Cabin is the loon tune. Now this is a really fun toy that honors the Minnesota state bird. And I always think it's fun to take one of these to see if you can call in a loon closer to your dock at home. Last but not least, when you make a purchase here at the Minnesota-bound Log Cabin, you will receive a free Minnesota-bound reusable shopping tote. Now, my last tip for you is you better hurry up because it's while supplies last.
So what we see this year is a lot of really light clover honey, which is a real light, sweet honey.
When we return, what's the biggest buzz at the State Fair? It could be the honeybee exhibit. We'll go there.
Closed captioning is brought to you by The Yard, premier manufacturers of maintenance-free outdoor patio furniture and accessories from recycled plastic.
Welcome back to the Minnesota-bound State Fair special. You know, it seems like we're hearing a lot more about honeybees these days. Certainly there's been a bunch of news that the population here in Minnesota is declining. And maybe that's why the bee display here at the fair is such a big deal and has such a rich history.
My name is David Schaff, and I'm the superintendent of the Bee and Honey Division here at the State Fair. We're in the Bee and Honey wing of the horticulture building, right in the middle of the fairgrounds. This is where all the apiary products and anything bee and honey related is displayed.
Number 263.
The judging for honey takes place usually the day before the fair, so we're kind of scrambling to get everything together.
2 off on container, 8 points.
But when they look through the samples, they're checking the container, they're checking how high the honey was filled in the container.
Absence of froth and foam.
They're looking for froth or bubbles or any kind of impurities.
-2 on clarity is 18.
And then of course they also check the moisture of the honey, and honey has to be below 18.6% moisture, otherwise it won't stay stable in the jar.
Okay, clarity.
It's hard to see when you hold up a jar to the light, but the judges have a special device, it's called a polariscope.
-1.
The last thing they'll do is they'll taste a little sample of it.
So we got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Right now we're standing in front of our honey lots that have come in this year. We had a lot of rain in the early spring, and then we had a big clover bloom in early July. So what we see this year is a lot of really light clover honey, which is a real light, sweet honey. In addition to honey, we have several other categories in our competition. The biggest group is honey foods competition, so it's foods baked with honey. So a lot of it might be like cookies and pastries and cakes and that type of thing. In addition to that, we have another area that's all artwork and crafts that are made with beeswax, including such crafts as batik and Ukrainian eggs. Honeybees have been in trouble for the last several decades, but particularly in the last few years. There's a number of things that are affecting bees right now that we're very concerned about. Loss of habitat, diseases and pests, and lack of forage and nutrition. There's not as many bee colonies around as there used to be, and at the same time, more and more of the crops we depend on for food need to have bees to pollinate the fruit and set it up properly. We do a number of live demonstrations during the fair.
We're going to get the beard going here.
One day a year, it's a very special day. Gary Reuter from the University of Minnesota Bee Lab comes down and he does a live bee beard demonstration, which is quite a sight if you've never seen it. We always encourage people to try to buy honey from local sources because it's fresher, it's usually higher quality, and it's more interesting. You get all these different flavors captured that you normally don't get.
Coming up, Lisa Erickson shares her favorite state fair treat. You make it before you come to the fair, and it's delicious.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Jesse Treble Foundation Systems and Safe Basements Waterproofing, Radco Truck Accessories, and by Seven Clans Casino.
You can cover a lot of miles on foot just in one day here at the Great Minnesota Get Together. And if you're looking for a little snack to get you through the day, here is a great recipe.
Hi again and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Lisa. I'm getting ready to head to the state fair today. I'm going to go see Ron and Raven, and I love all that food fried on a stick. However, I like to temper it with a little bit of healthy food. So today I'm going to make some granola. First, we're going to make a little bit of a syrup to kind of bind our granola together. You can use honey or corn syrup, or you can use my secret ingredient, which is maple syrup. I've got about a cup here, and I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to warm it up on the stove to a boil. I'm just going to stir that butter in. While this comes to a boil, we'll go ahead and mix our ingredients. I have a cup of oatmeal, half a cup of almonds, a cup of bran cereal, and a cup of Rice Krispies. I'm just going to stir it together. Okay, it's ready. And now we're just going to pour it over our prepared granola. And now we're going to stir it. Oh, the maple syrup smells wonderful. I like using maple syrup because it's not as sweet as honey or the corn syrup. And now we're going to prepare the pan with some cooking spray. And we're going to take the granola and dump it right in the pan. I'm going to spread it out. And now we're going to put it in the oven at 300 degrees for about an hour and a half, or until the almonds start to get nice and brown. All right, our granola is all done and ready. Now, this is a great treat for the state fair, but I also love to take it hunting as trail mix, or hiking in the woods, or out fishing. There's a couple different things you can put in with it. I've got some apricots, some cherries, some chocolate, some white chocolate, and I've got some already cut up and prepared, so we're just going to sprinkle that right over the top. And I love white chocolate, so we're going to put that in today. And we're just going to mix it up and put it in a bag. All right, it's all ready to go. I've got my granola and my veggies, and I'm off to the state fair. And that's my wild chow.
No, you never get tired of the state fair, although I wish Laura and Bill would have brought me a pronto pup, huh? Well, that about does it for us. Remember, introduce the kid of the great outdoors. I'm Ron Schara, and of course, always the star of the show is you know who.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. For more information on these stories and more, catch us on the web at mnbound.com.